know how it is, lights, camera, action. We gon' keep this party jumping, gotta give it a little something just to keep them fellas looking, you know how it is. Got them hooked, I got them crazy on the music. You know how we do, let's party all night long. Rockin' to the break of dawn.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is, the place where we let our voices empower. Of course, it's Friday night, 6 p.m. Happy Friday to everybody.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
Welcome to the Love Show. We have Frederick Wilson II. We got Elena Vitamin E, feeding the people. Fields, what's up? We got Letitia, Phoenix Speaks. We got Letitia, the life coach. Letitia, Sister Gunner. Letitia, my big sis. Hardison, what's going on?
What's going on, people? Happy
What's
Friday.
up?
Feel like we need that Chicago Bulls theme music for Letitia. Just
A little bit.
now.
And now, yeah, man. Well, guess what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Today is going to be a very interesting, very, very interesting show. It's going to be a little heavy because we're going to talk about some topics. Shout out to the whole entire Rise Up family, the OnPoint Network, and everybody who tunes into the show and supports us. So, with that being said, we are kicking off the show talking about mental health. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we are going there. We're going there, folks. Mental health it is. Break the stigma, folks. I think Mental Health Awareness Month needs to be every month, and every day.
Every day.
And every day of the week. Mental health is a mean thing. Actually, Rise Up Family does awareness events for mental health awareness. We also work with some other groups in our community who also definitely highlight mental awareness in a major way. With that being said, how do you guys feel about this mental health situation as I show some stats on it?
I guess I'll go first. I'm sick of the stigma. I'm sick of it. I'm over it. I think the stigma is a major reason why families are divided. People need to get help, especially when I see people with mental illness issues like on social media. It's like they won't talk to a professional about their issues. You know, that's not cool. But it's okay to put your issues on the worldwide net. Okay? And tell all your business and all of that. And you're not getting the help. You're not receiving services to help you cope with whatever you're going through and whatever your issues are. People use social media as a diary or as a journal or something like that. You know, that's cool, but it's not cool to go to a professional where they're biased, you know, where they have taken an oath to keep whatever you talk about confidential. And then you guys will come up with a plan on whatever is stressing you out, whatever's triggering you, whatever's going on in your life. You can work with somebody and figure out a plan and a solution. So I think people need to be more open. Definitely families need to have the conversation more about even family counseling as a unit. I believe people need to be more open about it and try it. At least try it. Try it. So that's what I have to say.
I agree with you, Elena. The stigma with mental health is just as dangerous as the disease. First and foremost, people don't realize how common mental health issues are, and they go from mild to severe. Anxiety falls under mental health, and everybody doesn't always have anxiety issues, but you'll be surprised how anxiety impacts your life, and it's huge. People don't want to acknowledge these things and not realizing their quality of life is depreciating because they won't address those issues. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And those two intertwine. And we've just built a community that is afraid to say, I'm not okay. And then when people say that they're not okay, they're mocked. Because like you said, people use social media as their diary. But when you love someone and you see them spiraling out of control, at what point do you say, hey, look, you're spiraling. What can I do to help you?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're doing interventions for drugs, we need to be doing interventions for mental health. It is just as pressing. And I don't understand why we as a society don't want to acknowledge that, especially in the Black community. It's dangerous.
Yeah. And stop fighting against the grain. For any viewers, if you have friends and family that have presented this to you, stop being on the defense. It's a lot of that going on. You get really, really defensive with loved ones when they tell you to go seek help. Don't get defensive. These people love you. These people care about you. And they feel maybe the help that they're giving is not enough. And, you need more extensive help. So stop getting defensive, getting an attitude. See it as they love you and they want to just see you get better.
Definitely echo both your sentiments. The thing that's alarming, I'm looking at these stats, and this first stat, 450 million people worldwide have a mental health problem, more than 1 in every 16. First of all, that number is staggering in itself. But we also got to factor in that that's only people that have been diagnosed with a mental health issue. Because myself, at my age, I've never been, I haven't sought out counseling. I haven't, gone to talk to anybody to see if I have a mental health issue. So if that's the number of cases we know about, how many do we not know about? So as ladies alluded to, with this stigma, like there should not be a stigma on something that, if we're being honest, if it's 1 in every 16, it's probably 1 in every 10 in actuality. Something that affects around 1 in every 10 people, there should be no stigma around it. There should be no shame in, talking about it, seeking help. And I love the fact that now, people are starting to unpack this conversation, and mental health and mental awareness is becoming more and more prevalent and more mainstream and more normalized. But I mean, we definitely have to keep going, because look at how many other, I'll say, I guess, incidents in society happen where mental health is, if not the root cause, one of the root causes. So it's definitely not something that we can continue to ignore. And then as you touched on it, especially specifically in the Black community, like we act like we don't want to talk about that. And then specifically with Black men, I mean, let's keep it real. We saw.
Absolutely. You hit it on the nail, Fred.
Like, how many situations have we seen where we see Black men in pain and memes and mocks and jokes? Will Smith talking to Jada, and the pain on his face, that everybody can look at his face and see pain. And it's not like, man, is brother Will okay? It's like, oh, let's make a meme. The Jordan crime, the issues that go on with Kanye. So it's like we see these examples and we openly and blatantly, make fun of them and mock them. So we definitely need to check ourselves on that and understand that, look, when people come forward with it, definitely acknowledge it. But then also, even if a person doesn't come forward with it, but their actions or their mannerisms make it identifiable, like Letitia said, we need to have interventions. We need to reach out. Like, look, you don't appear to be okay. Let's see what's going on with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And here's the thing: things that are not talked about cannot heal. And
absolutely.
That is said a lot when you're talking about victims. But you have to understand, with mental health victimizes the people around you, and then you victimize yourself by not taking care of it. I suffered from clinical depression and anxiety. In therapy, I learned coping mechanisms to help myself, because I also know that people assume because somebody is depressed or they have mental health issues that they are medicated. I don't want to take drugs. You don't have to. There are other ways to manage that. I understand things about my anxiety that I didn't before therapy. Prime example, this pandemic has wreaked havoc on my anxiety. Why? Because I know that I have a maximum of 3 days that I can stay in the house consecutively before it starts driving me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand your triggers and then how to combat them.
Mm-hmm.
So to combat that, I go on a walk. For my depression, I understand that I need 45 minutes of cardio a day.
Mm-hmm.
What does cardio do? What does exercise do? It raises your endorphins. Your endorphins is that happy chemical in your body. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to manage this without medication.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always that way, but I'm able to manage because I understand what my triggers are and I work really hard to avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you can't avoid them, you have to learn how to cope with them in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like Fred alluded to, well, like he touched on, men and mental health, like for us to say, look, I need a mental day, it's okay. But when men say it's too much for me to bear, they are mocked.
Mm-hmm.
Women,
Absolutely.
they are
Mm-hmm.
mocked by men and women. And when you're in a relationship, because this happens often, and you're abused by your partner for being vulnerable, that's not okay. We have to change all of these narratives to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell somebody, look, come to me if you need help, and then they come to you for help, and then you like give them the most vicious tongue lashing ever. That's
Right.
not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that people are very conscious of what they do. That's abusive mentally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And mental health and abuse, all of these things go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Elena. Were you getting ready to say something, honey?
Oh no, you guys are hitting it all on the nail. And I just want to tell our viewers, it's okay. A lot of people have issues. It's okay. And people have reasons from your childhood trauma, whatever it is. Everybody dealing with something, everybody going through something. It's okay to say, I'm going through something and I need some help. I need some help. I think that's so attractive, especially to our men viewers. And I feel, yeah,
Um,
And
he was
look,
on a good job.
so
Especially to our male viewers, it's very, very attractive to seek healing. Women that who are whole, women of value, find you very, very attractive by saying, you know what, I'm dealing with some stuff, but you know what, I'm getting help and I'm working that out.
right, right. Shout out
the
to my
first thing Phil said, a lot of times, V, it's not whether it's cool or not. It's about affordability. These
Mm-hmm.
professionals ain't cheap. And the ones sponsored by these jobs ain't shit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it's
I,
some people, they have the insurance and they still don't utilize it.
but here's the thing. I put mental health and healthcare in the same category that I put higher education. Why in God's name does it cost so much?
And it's a necessity.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Why does it
Absolutely.
cost so much? Why do you capitalize so heavily on a need? You have to be healthy mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
Higher education is necessary. And these things, I mean, all of us have doctor bills. I am sure if all of us pulled our credit report, there will be a doctor bill of some sort on there.
Right.
That's
I would
absolutely
hope so.
ridiculous.
Right.
We're like the only
Right.
like modern industrialized superpower nation where the majority of people that go bankrupt for medical bills.
Absolutely.
And it's like,
Not
no,
credit cards.
United States of America, like you mess around and have something happen to your body, and in this instance, your mind, like, yeah, you can kiss everything you didn't work for, your house, your car, everything. Bye bye. Yeah. And to your point, like, yeah, necessities, healthcare, mental health, which we need to get to the point where when we say healthcare, mental health is automatically in that. We're
Right.
not there yet, but we need to get to that point. Healthcare, education is things that will bankrupt you. And in my opinion, in a society that truly cares about itself and bettering itself and being great, those things wouldn't happen. So maybe that's a reflection of, other issues, just to
Right.
put it.
It's
Right.
it's one of those things, you know, you sit here and you look at people, because I mean, it's the root of so many evils. Look at our homeless population. How many of our homeless population, and I absolutely don't know the statistic on this, so forgive me, guys. A lot of times people look at homeless people and then you notice that they're not quite right.
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 Schizophrenia in particular is one of those diseases that even when you're medicated, you can still go off the scale, right? And schizophrenics have a tendency of one, paranoia, and two, not taking their meds because either they feel like they're better or they feel like somebody's trying to kill them.
Right.
Right.
So you tie that in with homelessness in America. If mental health was free and accessible to people, would we see as many homeless bodies on the street?
They would never hit rock bottom. They would have a chance, a fighting chance to not hit rock bottom.
You know, like it's just one of those things. Like, if you really want to start to examine the issues in our society, a lot of them boil down to accessible and affordable healthcare, accessible and affordable housing, accessible and affordable education. That pretty much ties up homelessness, crime, because those two go hand in hand as well.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Shout out to Mr. Stanfield. Those of y'all in the comments, my man is dropping gems. So Devon said, mental health has been a huge ordeal for a long time. It's just that in the Black community, we have dismissed it for so long because all that we have overcome as a culture. But most don't acknowledge that generational and genealogical scars contribute to mental illness. But we don't want our internal business anywhere because we are so accustomed to our weaknesses being used against us. All of these methodologies are real. And I'm like, yo, that right there. Again, it's, and kind of tied into what you said, like if we look at and how all of these things are connected, mental health and how it's connected to this and that, and all these things are connected, it's like you're looking at the root cause to a significant portion of everything that we face as a society.
Exactly.
But again, we live in the US of A, which is like our country's motto might well be, we don't address problems, we just throw band-aids on them, because people talk about the homeless condition. Oh, we need to give them housing. I'm like, it's not about giving them things. It's about addressing the issue of what caused them to be homeless in the first place. I could give you a house, but if we don't fix the problem, you're homeless again. Because whatever led you to lose what you had in the first place, you're going to lose whatever we give you. Like these problems are things that you can just throw money at, or throw material things at without addressing the causes. And it's like, no. You could put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, but if you don't remove the bullet and put some sutures on there, it's going to bleed forever. You're just going to be changing.
You're going to bleed out. Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, but how does the saying go? If I give you a fish, I'll feed you tonight. If I teach you to fish,
I'll feed you for a lifetime. You can eat for a lifetime.
Yeah. So it goes into all of that. And I mean, it's scary because as we're sitting in this pandemic, you know, the suicide rate has skyrocketed. Yeah. And our babies are on the receiving end of this hardship. I mean, not to minimize, you know, anyone taking their life because it's tragic. But I did see a story a couple of weeks ago on Facebook where the child was somewhere between 9 and 12 years old, and he committed suicide. That shouldn't be.
Yeah, we're failing the kids.
That shouldn't be. No, first of all, no parent should ever bury their child under any circumstances. But we have got to do better in recognizing cries for help and supporting one another. I was on, and shout out to Devon. In Fresh Perspective. I was on Fresh Perspective last night, and we were talking about the village. This goes back to the village. Everything is going to go back to the village when you're talking about community. because it takes more than a mother and father to raise children.
Thank you. Say it again. Say it again, Sister Evangeline.
More than a mother and a father. You have to understand, every person in your child's life leaves a different impression on your child. Everybody that's in your child's life helps them and aids them in some shape or form. We all are molding these children. All of us.
But as adults, we're too focused on the wrong things, and the children are suffering. We focused on celebrities. We focused on everything else, while the kids are trying to figure out life on their own. They're dealing with depression. They're dealing with having issues with social skills with their peers. They're having issues with dating, domestic violence issues. Like, too many adults is too busy overlooking, and these kids are feeling hopeless, and they're trying to figure out life on their own. You know,
the crazy thought. This is the crazy thing to me. People are so against like getting help for mental health, but how many kids do you know with that ADHD, ADD label on them? How many children do you know that are labeled as behavior issues? They have ADHD, they have ADD.
I mean, in my half, it seems like about like damn, it seems like half.
Right.
Yeah, they quick to throw that label.
Do you know what I really think that is? That to me is lazy medicine. It's not getting to the root of the problem. I don't know that these kids really have ADHD or ADD as much as they just need people to ground them.
Who care?
You know what I'm saying? You need people that invest time, effort, and love into this child to cultivate a reasonable human being. And then how many people are dismissing the fact that most of our babies have been traumatized?
Absolutely, from their environment.
Most of these children, because most of us have been traumatized. Think of all the things that you've seen in your 30 years. And these children have open exposure. Every time that somebody reposts somebody getting gunned down on the web, your kid has swiped that on their timeline. So we're not addressing the issue, really. Are you sitting down? Are you talking to your child? Are you limiting to see? Because there are people.
Do you really know their friends
that don't have access to that for that reason? Because I still believe in censorship.
Right.
I don't want a kid with PTSD at 8.
Right.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And to touch on that, I mean, yeah, what you're saying is absolutely correct. These kids are seeing these things online, but that's not even factoring the kids that are living in these environments that are seeing it firsthand, walking to and from school, walking to and from the store. So it's like, yeah, your kid saw this video online, but this child last week saw it live in person.
Right.
Hello. Recently, I don't remember the city, but it was a recent story of a young girl while she was doing online schooling. Online, her mom was killed by her boyfriend, with her and her 3 siblings in the house.
Jesus.
Like, live. Like, that's crazy.
One thing I want to circle back to, like Letitia, you were talking about with the kids with the ADHD and the AED and things like that, is I think and again, this is not to pass judgment on parents and things like that, but I think we overlook the important things that need to take place in the child's development. In every species, play is crucial to development. You develop skills. When we were coming up, we just had to do stuff and stimulate things. How many times you go to a place now where you see, a kids in the waiting room or somewhere like that, and they got a tablet or device in front of them, where the parent has given them a device to occupy them. Okay, I need you to sit here. And it's like, yeah, you're being occupied, but you're not using your full facets of that developmental process, exploring, learning, touching, growing, and quiz. You're just focus on this one little thing. So you're not getting that full scope of things. Whereas when we were young, it's like
my father had a book in my hand everywhere I went, a book.
You had that every doctor dentist office had the little wooden thing with the wires, and you take the ball and you know, so you had stuff. So that's what you occupied. But again, you're using more facets instead of just sitting down at a device and looking at things. Kids, and again, a lot of this is indicative of our society. Kids aren't able to go out and play and interact with kids outside anymore like we used to when we were kids. When we was kids, Saturday, like whole group of kids in the neighborhood, everybody outside playing. You're learning social skills, you're getting physical development, you know, critical thinking skills, all these tools that you need in life that you're getting, that you're not even aware that you're getting, because as a 7-year, 8-year-old, you're just playing. But crucially, you are developing yourself as a person. And a lot of these things that our kids are not being exposed to and they're not getting, I think that definitely has an effect on their
development.
It's a thing
of the past now.
Right, because social skills. So let's touch on the social skill aspect, right? Mm-hmm. I have 5 children and they are forced to share, right? So how many people have friends and you see that they don't make their children share? They don't let children work things out. These build coping mechanisms, ladies and gentlemen. You learn how to negotiate. You learn how to say, okay, that it's fine. They'll play with it this time. I'll play with it next time. They're not learning these very necessary foundational skills. I do not at any point solve stepping kid issues. It's none of my business. Come in here if you want to with a kid issue. Do you want mommy to fix it or would you like to fix it? They pause. Right. No, we'll fix it. Yep, go talk that out.
Right.
Go talk that out. And people don't realize how many things are missing from their children's childhood that we had. You know, I don't like this whole participation trophy thing. I think that sportsmanship, you have to learn how to cope with a loss. You have to learn how to cope with a loss. Yes, it's devastating. It hurts. However, when you learn how to cope with that, you're either going to get better and try harder or you're going to lose. We're not making them work things out. And it's causing issues in their mental and their emotional health. And those two things go hand in hand.
Exactly.
But it doesn't help when you're raised by a psychotic parent. Like
ratchet.
All the time about being a crazy mama, but let's be clear. I'm not in here screaming at children. I will bust your tail, but I'm not in here abusing children, you know. So you're thinking about how many kids are, and then again, we're in a pandemic. These kids have been out since March, and a lot of them lost their safe haven.
Yeah.
How do we recover these babies from that?
Right. Absolutely right. A lot of children are stressed because those hours that they are in school is their safe haven. Those are the hours they know they're going to get a meal, some attention paid to them, somebody, you know, that care, adults that actually care, you know. So I think about that every day since the pandemic began, for sure.
Right, because so let's put this into perspective, because Elena hit the nail on the head. Food. What kind of anxiety do you think is built in a child that doesn't know where their next meal is coming from?
Right.
Anxiety, I promise you, breeds behavior issues. Think about how you reacted the last time you were scared of something.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put this out there first.
Go ahead.
To kind of piggyback on that. So you have a child that's in a situation where they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And they're around other kids who don't have that same experience. Like, oh, little Tommy over here, he's good. He has lunch every single day. He's like little Susie, but I don't know where my next meal is coming from. How do y'all think that affects the child's like trust issues? Like, And again, no judgment on the parents because every situation is different. But when they're looking at these other children whose parents are providing for them, and they're looking at their own parents who are unable to or unwilling, whatever the situation be, at providing for them. And maybe as a child, they don't really understand why their parents are providing. They just know that their parents are not providing. Do y'all think that affects their trust issues? Like, you were supposed to take care of me and you didn't. So how do I now, moving forward in my life, look at people that are quote unquote supposed to take care of me? The people that were originally supposed to take care of me fail me. Like, do y'all think that moving forward that affects their psyche and their ability to trust and form strong relationships?
Yeah, for sure. Just as well as I do know in Buffalo, there are still some schools who are requiring the kids to do the virtual learning, but they're not providing the laptop for children. So yes, that's a huge concern. Again, anxiety for children. That's like, if I'm dependent on Wi-Fi services, if I'm dependent on a laptop, a Chromebook to be successful for me and my family can't afford, that's anxiety again. Yeah, right. For sure.
Especially if the kids in your class can afford it. Now, if it's a situation where, the entire area is poverty stricken and nobody can afford it, that's one thing. But yeah, if you're the only kid in class that consistently is going without, doesn't have, because also, again, the social aspect of it. Kids, oh man, you ain't got new clothes, you don't have a laptop, you don't have this. And it's not only do you not have it, and you already feel bad about it, but then the kids point it out because they're kids. They're going to do what kids do. And again, you're looking like, man, why is it that they have, we don't have? Now you're looking at your parents. Like,
how they parents figure it out, but you can't figure it out.
Right.
So check out this comment, guys. Anika Clowney says, parents should be able to discuss these things candidly, but at an appropriate level with children. We don't want to burden them, but we do need to foster understanding to keep them from resentment, keep resentment and pain from festering. That is important because, again, like y'all said, why can't you provide? But that's still a level of anxiety.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still a level of anxiety. Like, we need to have appropriate conversations with our children. We give answers because they're children, but you have to understand, I was a child that if you told me no, okay, cool, no. And you didn't have to give me a reason. And truth be told, I didn't want to hear one because I didn't care. You said, no, I'm not doing it.
No.
But the average child is not like that. The average child doesn't understand. You can't tell me no, because you know how they are. You can't tell me no. But when you start giving reasons, one, it facilitates trust. Two, it secures that child in knowing the why. And three, we can start working on solutions. All of those things prevent the level of anxiety that happens when I know what's going on versus I don't know what's going on. And these kids are picking with me because I don't have.
And how do the children handle that when they have parents that have the idea, well, I'm the parent, shut up, I don't want to hear it, I don't care about how you feel, I don't owe you anything, I don't have to say anything to you, shut up. Like you said, there's no trust there. There's no communication, so resentment. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call it bad parenting, but I am going to say you don't foster a relationship with the child when you navigate like that. That child will not come to you when something's wrong. That child will not trust that you're not going to flip out with something if something happened. You're not bridging the gap of trust and communication when you are that kind of parent. And on top of which, they are little people. Children are smaller versions, less experienced versions of adults. Why in God's name are you treating them like the dog?
It gets under my skin when I hear adults cussing at little kids and calling them stupid.
Because that is mental and emotional abuse, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm trying to figure out how to tie this in, but because when you were talking about that and a lot of things you were saying, I'm thinking about like a lot of us in our generation, how we grew up where, Mama said no, that just meant no, don't ask questions, don't talk back, this and that. We talk about how back, we were the generation where we got spanked and this and that. Now the timeout generation. And remember how we used to always be like, oh, well, we got spanked and look at us, we turned out fine. No, we didn't.
We didn't.
Right. Did we turn out fine? Right.
We turned out fine.
Or traumatized.
Well, I got a job and I'm this and that. But we all have mental health issues. Well, we don't. But we
all got some flashbacks. You know that.
So this new generation of parenting, whether it's more like you just said, Letitia, like these are people. They just haven't been here as long, but they're people, and we need to start treating them like people, and addressing their emotional concerns and addressing this rather than just being like, you're a child, just go off to the wayside.
The dictator, like a dictatorship.
Explanation.
Yeah, the way we were raised, we didn't turn out fine. We might have turned out fine. In fact, we're not out there being, we're not criminals and locked up. But what are the effects on our mental health of the whoopings, of the, just a child's place and stay there and not being able to express yourself and things like that. And also something I want to say, which might be kind of crazy, but children, and again, depending the younger, as they get older, but children have a very simplistic way of looking at the world because they haven't had their lives convoluted with all the BS that adults have.
Right.
So talking about, speaking with your children about issues that are going on in the home, when you don't have the means to provide for things, you might want to run it by your kid because maybe your kid might be like, well, why don't you just do this? And it might be something that's so simple that you didn't even think about. Be like, you know what? No, man, you're right. Like, because I was just going, well, wait, if you need this, why don't you just do that? And it'd be just, so I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying put your children in charge of your household, but I'm just saying don't completely dismiss them because they're children, because sometimes that fresh, simple view of things might be what you need in certain situations.
Yeah, that fresh insight. Absolutely.
And especially when you, listen, we all know kids say the darndest things, but my 8-year-old, like you said, the simplistic ones, we overcomplicate things because we're accustomed to dealing with complex issues. They like,
right.
not the children. Like, here's the thing. As a single mother, right, most of us are stressed out. Why? Because we're overextended. And I read a comment earlier that was said, something was said about people are overly involved in their children's lives, which I agree with. Let them be a little bit.
Right.
Because problem solving is crucial to them. On top of which,
right.
takes time to work on you. When you over involve yourself as an adult in kid stuff, and you don't take a minute to step back, one, you can't measure what they can handle because you haven't let them go enough to see how they handle things. Because we should be doing that as adults. We want to catch them now. If they're falling, we the soft place to land. You don't want them to fall when they're grown out of our grasp and ooh, that was catastrophic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My children understand so many things about what is going on and how those things affect me. I didn't realize. I'm divorced now. My oldest son came into my room on Mother's Day. He sat at the end of the bed and he said to me, "Mommy, I was worried. I was worried that we weren't going to be okay. But you got it." First of all, I almost cried because there were just several things that happened that morning with these children. And I rushed them out the door because by the time I did, I was really in tears. But they have the emotional intelligence to understand so much more than what we give them credit for. Like Fred said, don't boggle them down with adult issues, but don't lie to them.
Right.
When we lie to children, it creates a gap of mistrust and a gap of not knowing. And you have to build trust because when things are not okay, they have to be able to tell us. My son told me one day, he said, "Mommy, I can't. I'm just not in an emotional place to deal with people." Hey, one of us said that to our mothers or fathers, they would have been like, "Get your butt out this bed and get out this house."
Ain't nothing wrong with you, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Do you have a fever? And I looked at him and I paused. I said, just lay back down. I gave him another hour. He got up. He said, you know what, mommy? I feel better. And he left. It is okay for them to not have a good mental day, guys, because all of us do it. We all, like, first of all, can I get as many mental health days as I get sick days? Can we talk about that? Because
please incorporate that in the plan. Please. The
state of the world doesn't allow me to always be okay, and there's an angry Black woman locked somewhere in here. But yeah, you know, mental health is important, especially in children. My mom used to always say, I feel like we should get a psychiatrist coming out just like we get a pediatrician. They don't let you got to pick one, right?
Right.
Mental health is that important because we all have to have someone else to talk to because we're not always capable of manifesting coping skills. And coping skills is what all of us sane and keep all of us from, I don't know, going into towns and shooting up people.
I've said for years, like, we live in a country that is, you know, with our fascination over glorification of military, and we are fascinated with guns. But then if you compare us to other nations where, you know, you start a job and you got mandatory minimum 2 weeks vacation from the jump, and you know they work 4-day weeks or they work less hours, and we are overworked, overstressed, overcharged, underpaid, all this stress. We don't address mental health issues. We don't address these things, and we're also enamored with guns, and we wonder why every time we turn around, people end up with bullet holes. I mean, I'm just saying, you put a whole lot of stuff together. You just, you know, there's certain, you know, like there's certain chemicals you're just not supposed to mix. Certain things you just, like, you know, you don't mix orange juice and toothpaste. You know, certain things that just don't go together. And in America, it's like we are the land of things that don't go together. But then turn around and pearl clutch, like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is the result we got. Like, yeah, couldn't have seen that coming at all, huh? Couldn't have seen that coming. All right.
Yes.
Anika said, we're way too reactive and not proactive enough.
You're right.
And I totally agree. Straight across the board, whether we're talking about mental health, whether we're talking about the state of our communities, whether we're talking about the state of our society, we are not proactive enough as Americans, as people, as just humans. There is too much reaction to tragedy that goes on. But had we dealt with these issues before they became issues, we wouldn't be sitting here having a whole mental health discussion. I watched Kanye West, and I hate to bring him up, but I know manic moments when I see them. He had a whole manic moment. And this man has been on a steady decline. Don't know what his diagnosis is, but that looks bipolar, schizophrenic-ish.
Right.
And for those who don't know, schizophrenia usually happens, either it's onset and it's more prevalent in men, it usually happens in their 20s, or a traumatic event. He had a traumatic event. He lost his mother. Don't know what his diagnosis was. But Kanye is also a genius, so he started out crazy.
Right.
And like I say that word, but I'm not as at all being funny. There's a fine line between genius and insanity. A very fine line. And we have to be conscious of those people. Because if I mention him, I have to mention R. Kelly.
You better.
You understand what I'm saying? Look at Michael Jackson. No same person holds their baby out of the window, but they operate on genius level. The two correlate.
See Breezy, throw him on there too.
The first time I
said throw Chris Brown on there. Throw him on there.
The first time I
Chris
really
Brown needs mental health, extensive treatment.
Yeah. First time I really noticed it with Kanye, because again, I've been a fan of Kanye's music since forever, but I don't pay attention to celebrity. Like, I don't know this man. But it was when he was on Ellen, and I saw a man that had so many ideas in his head just going around, and he couldn't get them out coherently. And I'm like, that looks like you said, that looks like some crazy genius stuff. Because he was talking a mile a minute, and it was like this thought to that thought to this. There was no segue, no transition. And I'm just like, if you literally split his head open right now, ideas would just shoot out. There's so many of them in there. And that was the first time I was like, yeah, something is different about this man. And like you said, yeah, the line between genius and crazy, and then like you say, the manic schizophrenia thing, like, yes, losing his mother. And I believe he was in the onset of his 30s. So you said it happens in their 20s or traumatic. So him right after his 20s and something traumatic. And if you look, that's when really publicly you can see the change. Now, I don't know how he handled it behind closed doors, but before that, it was just Kanye, the music, the shows. But that's when we started to see a public change in Kanye. So definitely.
And like you stated, the public was making fun of him, which is not cool. Look, and Will Smith, like, it's not cool.
Right. It's not okay. And we listen. I don't usually go on this tangent, but we have to be equally accountable to protect our Black women, but even more so our Black men. Our Black men are not protected by anyone except their mamas on occasion. And if their mother's gone, there's nobody really looking out for their interests. That's disturbing to me, because we do all this work to protect our sons, but then these grown men are not protected. We should be rallying to protect them. Either they're getting cut down by the women they love at home or gunned down in the streets. That's not okay. That should not be your choices as a man.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to unpack there. I mean, I don't know. We've kind of set up a nice little segue for the next topic.
We did.
As somebody said, gunned down in the streets. I don't know, ladies. Y'all ready to?
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into it, because I know everybody's waiting for us to touch it. They know we're gonna touch it.
Right. Who wants to go first? I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna make everybody mad and maybe everybody happy, just at various times. So I don't know who wants to go first.
Yeah, I told you I'm gonna rock the boat with this one, and it's a very unpopular opinion, but it has to be said. Would you like me to start, Fred?
Because I'm trying to think.
Go ahead, Evangeline.
But I'm not sure. So you know what? You go on ahead. We might say the same thing. So
go ahead, and I'm gonna come up with the follow up. I got you with the follow up.
Go ahead, Go ahead, Sister Gunner.
Right. So Jacob Blake and Dre, do you have the clip? Okay, we don't have Dre. So let me first and foremost say there is never a time that anyone, white or Black, should be gunned down in the street. But let me also say this. As Black men, there are things that you know for certain and for sure. And what you know for certain and for sure is there is not going to be hesitation with pulling the trigger. So as a Black man, you should do everything that you need to do to walk out of that situation alive. Mm-hmm. I am not blaming him, ladies and gentlemen, but what I will say is this. When you are given a direct order to stop and you don't do that, you put yourself in harm's way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Part of my issue with us as a people is we are not accountable for our actions. No, at no point was 7 bullets in his back justifiable. But let me say this to you. When he left and went to his car, he gave them the license to open fire and them say it's justified, because when he reached in his vehicle, they didn't know what he was reaching for. And it would be the same if he went into his home. If you leave and they can't tell what you're doing, if there's a slightest inkling of question of whether they're in danger or not, they are absolutely going to gun us down and ask no questions later. So we have to stop absolving ourselves of the personal responsibility to protect ourselves. Because when you are a hashtag, understand that they are going to paint you the worst person in the world, and then we got to go to back and fight for you. Can you please make this fight a little bit easier for us? Because a woman is a mother of brown babies. I am horrified that that man was gunned down in front of his children, creating what? Trauma. Because they will never, ever, 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 ever forget how the police gunned their daddy down in front of them. And I apologize because I'm going to be emotional. I have no intention of trying to hold that back either. But what he didn't do was pause and say to himself, they are going to escalate very quickly if I do this. If I walk away, if I get in my car. Not only did he put himself at harm, he put his children at harm, because that guy who had his hand on his t-shirt did not care about him or his babies.
Absolutely.
We cannot allow them to execute us in the street and so-called justify it people. We cannot continue to give them reason to say anything to us. And now he's in ICU fighting for his life, handcuffed to a bed. He's paralyzed. And I am sure they are going to say that's typical protocol. Jacob is everybody's baby.
All right, so you went where I thought you was gonna go. Go ahead, Elena, and then I'm up.
Oh no, I'm with you, Tisha. My heart is like racing as a mom, as just a Black person. Like the whole situation, you talk about anxiety is to the max. But I'm glad that you addressed the elephant in the room, Letitia. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Jacob admitted to them he did have a knife in his possession. And like you stated, every day, this ain't nothing new. And that was televised. People are getting gunned down for less, that are not walking away, are not resisting. People are dying for that. So when I saw the video too, that was the first thing that went through my mind. I was like, no, what are you doing? No, you're giving them a reason. I said, and you turning your back on them? I'm like, sir, are you not paying attention to what's going on? You definitely don't want to walk away and turn your back. So, and like you said, that was not smart because he put himself in danger and his children. By no means did he deserve that, because I did think they could have grabbed him.
Right.
Even though they did grab his shirt or whatever, they could have tased them there because they love to be tased or happy also. But to gun him down, no. But after you tell these people you have a knife, and then you like basically like screw your orders, I'm getting in my car. That's all they needed. So how we handled that was like not wise at all. And like you said, if we gonna fight for you, let it be justifiable. Don't give them any reason to discredit still how they reacted. And they were shooting with the intention to kill him. They're surprised he survived, because when they shot, that was their intention. Period. So
I'll save it. I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna need y'all. Y'all know normally I'll be like, yo, cut me off. I'm gonna keep it brief, but I'm gonna need y'all to let me rock on this one. Letitia, I figured that's where you was gonna go. There's a lot of misinformation around this. First and foremost, when I saw the tape and I saw him come around the car, as soon as he opened the car door, and then the officer grabbed him by the shirt and let off that 7 shots, my initial reaction was like, yeah. Because again, as you alluded to, like, you can't do that. So the 911 call was allegedly, a woman called, said her boyfriend wasn't supposed to be there. The family states that James Blake pulled up. There was a group of women outside, 6 to 7 women having an altercation. He was there trying to de-escalate the situation. There's a lot of, that's he said, she said, what the officials say, what the family says. That's he said, she said. If you look at the video, it does appear that he is carrying a knife. It's one of those little, it's a switchblade type, but it's got that little hook. It looks like a velociraptor claw to me. And it's the same type of knife that was found on the floorboard. Witnesses say that the police, that as he's walking away, the police can tell, they can be heard telling him to drop the knife. And in fact, they did tase him. He was tased. Continued to walk away. Walks over, opens the car door, and reaches down. Now we talk about all the time, well, why didn't they tackle him? I mean, obviously, as he's walking around the car, you can tell where he's going. So why didn't they tackle him before he got there? All the why didn'ts are of the way we would like police to handle things. But as the current state of policing is in this country, when I saw that video, my first thought is, if you take Officer Russell Chesky, who was officer that shot him, if you remove Officer Chesky and replace him with every single officer in this country, 90% of them are pulling the trigger in that situation. Because again, as y'all alluded to, you cannot in that situation walk away, which you're resisting verbal commands, and then you go to the unknown. You open a door and you reach into an area where the officers cannot see. They have no idea what you're pulling out. They are going to respond in that situation. And people talk about, well, why don't they shoot him in the leg? As policing is right now, officers are trained when they do discharge their firearm, they are supposed to discharge it at center mass. So everybody that always wants to, we can stop talking about that. And until we change policy, stop asking that why they don't shoot the legs on. If they discharge their firearm, they're supposed to discharge at center mass. Funny thing is, he discharged 7 shots, only 5 of them hit. So I'm curious to where the other 2 went, because you was right there point blank. But that's another issue. So overall, this case, the outrage, the protest is not a good look for us. It's not a good look for the cause. Now his criminal history. First of all, people talk about he's a pedophile, things like that, because he had the 3rd-degree sexual assault charge. In Wisconsin, that is not indicative of sex with a minor. So
in most states,
was not having sex with children, so we can scrap that. But the thing that's also to note is when the call was given to 911, the officers responding, they knew who was there. There was an active, because they received the call, and there was also a 1099, which means that they're looking for somebody with an active warrant. So they knew James Blake. They knew who this man was. They knew his criminal history. So they already went to that situation knowing that we are dealing with a person who may give us problems. So they're already on edge in the situation. And again, as the status quo is with policing as it is now, justifiably so. So this is a very bad look for us. The civil unrest, the discourse behind this case, where as a politician, as you alluded to, this man's actions put him in a situation that wound up with him being in the hospital paralyzed.
I do want to give you guys an update though.
Hold on. With all of that being said, in my Tony Stark voice, when he found out that Bucky was the one that killed his parents, I don't care. This is not the case that we should have outrage from. But the problem is, this country, if the systems in place in this country were right, there would be no outrage, because we wouldn't be stacking this case onto the other bodies that we've seen. So yes, this is not the person we need to uphold. And yes, this is not really the case where we should vilify the police and demonize them for what they did in that situation, because his actions did place him in harm's way. But I don't give a damn, because everything in Kenosha that got set on fire, you know what? Chalk that up for everything in Aurora, Colorado that didn't get set on fire when y'all murdered Elijah McClain and we didn't burn anything down. Chalk that up for everything in Louisiana that's not on fire right now, because y'all still have not arrested the people that shot Breonna Taylor. So here's the thing. As we talk about these officers went to that situation, knowing who Mr. Blake was, knowing that he had a criminal record, knowing that he had charges, knowing that he was the type to carry around records, and y'all responded accordingly. This is what y'all seeing for us right now, is us responding to y'all, knowing how law enforcement acts, knowing how the systems in this country are set up, knowing how the institutions in this country are set up. So you know what? Y'all respond to James Blake with preconceived notions. We are coming at this case with preconceived notions. So to hell with everybody that wants to talk about oh, well, he shouldn't. Yes, you're right. He shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have done. But you know what? I don't give a damn because it's another incident where policing in America has shown itself. And again, we might have missed the mark on this one, but there's a whole lot of other victims who are nameless that we didn't get justice for. So you know what? That
Absolutely.
might be, but oh, what? Oh well. Oh well. Oh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with you, Fred.
Oh
well.
That's right.
I just want to give you guys a quick update, and then you can go ahead, Tisha. About 2 hours ago, they did uncuff him, Jacob. So they uncuffed him in the hospital, and that was like about 2 hours ago. I saw that updated.
It's because the family is being represented by Attorney Crump, who has been at the forefront of far. Like there is no reason in the world why that man should be a household name, but he's a household name because again, there have been far too many of these cases that he's had to represent, and they know that Attorney Crump does not play. I've met Mr. Crump. I had the honor of doing a town hall with him 2 years ago. A wonderful man, excellent attorney. So yeah, with the father coming in there and the heartbreak of seeing his son laying there with gunshot wounds, paralyzed, he was hit in the spine. I know part of his colon was removed. He's got holes in his kidneys and his liver. And yes, he is still wanted for that criminal offense. So yes, he is technically still a wanted criminal suspect, things like that. And as you alluded to, Letitia, him being handcuffed to the hospital is going to fall under the guise of police protocol. But again, it just goes to show that they have the ability to bypass protocol and do the right things when they're forced to do it.
Right.
They're forced to do it because the father notices it, brings it to the attorney makes it public knowledge. Now you're getting backlash. Now all of a sudden he's not changing the bed. So apparently that protocol ain't ironclad, because if it was, aren't y'all, because now y'all are breaking protocol.
Right.
So again, and again, it just shows another thing. Like y'all are willing to break your protocols when it suits you. And why does it suit you now? Because you're trying to keep, it's already hot. You're trying to like, look, it's already like, we got some lava melting out. We are trying not to have Mount St. Helens. So in an effort to not have Mount St. Helens, we're going to break our own protocol, which means that your protocol is bullshit in the first place. If you can break your own rules all willy-nilly at your discretion. All right, Letitia, I know you stewing. I know you got something.
I'm not stewing. I just don't know how many more of these conversations I have in me. You know what I mean?
Exhausting. It's exhausting.
I don't know how many more of these conversations I have in me because I just keep reflecting back to 7 bullets in the back. And I'm not one, listen, that whole shoot him in the leg. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain why. I'm not shooting nobody in the leg. Me as an officer, I'm absolutely pumping some blood in you. But let me back up. I would have never allowed that man to get to his vehicle. That was, again, policing gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There were several of you, and you had your hand on this man's t-shirt well before he got to his car door.
Right.
So you telling me at no point you didn't say, let me tackle him down. Let me wrestle him down.
Right.
Back when we were kids, you got beat up by the cops. If they had to do some work, you getting beat up.
They had to chase you. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You getting beat up.
And again,
it's going to be about
exactly where he's going. He's walking around the car. He ain't going. You can tell he's going to his car door. So again, as policing in America, that's going to happen. But the way policing should be done, you don't let him get there. Just like Terrence Kirchner in Oklahoma City, when he's walking with his hands up back to his vehicle. Where do you think he's going? Of course he's going to the car. If you don't want him to get there, why would you not tase him? Why would you wait till he gets there and then be like, oh my God, he's at the door? But again,
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
I will say this, in my opinion, 7 shots to his body is indicative of fear to me. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring this up is because, one, we all have said it's excessive, and that's not an opinion, that is fact, right?
Fact.
So if you're that fearful, again, why'd you let him get to the car?
Exactly.
Because if we're going to look at his rap sheet, and this is where you apply logic to a situation, let's assume they knew that he was there. Let's assume they knew about this open warrant. Why you let him bop off? Because there's nothing in me that's going to let you bop off. you are going to be face down in the grass. Okay, I'm going to put all my 200, not going to say how many pounds, into your body. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to make it there. Because I get 2 shots to the body. If he went down in 2 shots.
That was overkill. 7 was overkill. With the intention for him to die.
7 sounds like you're fearful. 7 is excessive force. And that's what we need to be looking at. Because there's more than enough accountability to pass around the table. But 7 shots, I just want to see how they're going to spin this to justify seven shots.
I want to go back to something that you said. Okay, so they show up to this call. And again, the report is that they knew he was there and they knew he had a warrant out. Now, there's another video that is shown. So the video we see is from across the street that shows the driver's side angle. There's another video from the backside that shows the cops interacting with him before he walked around. Excuse me, regardless of what's going on, what you showed up for that day, isn't he under arrest for the warrant that's already out? So when you get there, right, Mr. Blake, we got a warrant out for your arrest. Let's go ahead and put you in handcuffs right quick, because regardless of what's going on today, you coming with us for the warrant that's already out. So again, why does this man even, why does he even get from the other side of the car? When y'all show up and identify this man, okay, so you were under arrest for this previous warrant. Now, okay, cool, we got you standing there, hands behind your back. Okay, what's going on today? What? Okay, do we need to add some more charges? What's going on today? Would you come out here before? But the bottom line is, if this man really had warrants out for his arrest, which I have no reason to believe that he didn't, you're going to jail that day anyway. Why are you standing there talking to somebody, not restraining somebody that's already under arrest? Because the warrant means you under arrest. We just haven't done it yet. A warrant is not you're wanting for questioning or this. We just want to come talk to you. You are under arrest. We just haven't done it yet. Why? Because
I'm coming to apprehend you
or whatever. But now that we are face to face with you, you're under arrest. I don't care what we came in for today. We got you in custody. It's like when we was quote unquote looking for bin Laden. If something would have happened and we're not going to show up, okay, well, let's talk. No. Okay, first of all, you wanted for this other crime. Let's go ahead and get you in custody because we got you right now. Let's not give you the opportunity to escape or anything like that. Because let's say he doesn't go to his car. Let's say he just takes off running. And Officer Shesky, who again can't be the greatest shot, because I don't know how you let off 7 shots and only hit him 5 times, and your gun is a foot from him. But let's say he takes off running, y'all now he done got away again. Y'all had somebody who was wanted right there, and you let him get away again. Policing in America, what are y'all doing?
Right, because let's remove the black factor for a minute, right? Let's set the stage in a white neighborhood. Let's set the stage in a white neighborhood and we're still dealing with a wanted criminal. Had they let that happen,
right,
the homeowners association would have lost their minds. I say that to say the policing is flawed. Your technique is flawed. Gross. Because just the same as I said, we have to be accountable for our actions. You can't bop off from the police like that. You can't endanger other citizens, because this could have went different, right? Let's say he didn't have his hand on his shirt, right? Let's say that he made it to the car and he had a gun. There are people around. So now everybody's spraying bullets, police and him. Your job is to safely apprehend this fugitive. You
know how to do it
several times over before we even get to the point where they shot this man at point blank range.
Right.
They know how to do it. We have seen plenty of cases where they have no issues apprehending Caucasian criminals, or hell, any other that race, other than minority. They're capable of doing it. They pick and choose, clearly.
Yeah, because I was going to bring in some of these videos from other shenanigans that I saw this week, and
hundreds of them.
I'm not going to focus my attention on these other situations. I don't even want to focus on the cops tonight, per se. But Dre just released that clip, and we gonna have to talk about that, y'all. We got about
let's get into it.
We got about 20 minutes left, and we gonna have to talk about the fact of the unrest that happened after Jacob Blake was gunned down by the police.
Do we have any comments?
You talking about the little Kyle, the little thug? Because I'm gonna call him a thug, because we all know what the word thug means, and we all know that white people don't use that word against other white people. The only time they ever do is when we point out that they don't. And they're like, "Well, I have no problem calling him a thug," but you didn't. You didn't. Yeah. So the little thug, Kyle. All right. Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse is a resident of now, and I'm gonna put this out there because again, I'm gonna keep it fair and balanced. Now, Kyle lives in Antioch, Illinois. Kyle took his little ass on Tuesday to Kenosha. Now that's only 21 miles, so I want to make it clear. I don't want people to think that this dude went on a trek. It's a 21-mile, half-hour trip. So he just went up there with his little rifle and was walking around for hours. A gentleman by the name of Joseph Rosenbaum was the first person that, and again, there's a lot of misinformation around this. There's a lot of conflicting stories. So allegedly, Joseph confronted Kyle.
There you go.
Started chasing him, threw something at him, which turned out to be a plastic bag, because they saw the video, they looked at where it landed, it was just a plastic bag. Kyle ended up shooting Joseph. Joseph has passed. Kyle also ended up shooting Anthony Huber, who has passed. He also shot Gage Grosskreutz, who was just injured. So we've seen the video, and again, it's not clear who started what as far as the initial shooting. The narrative out there is that Lil Kyle went out there to protect businesses and was encountered by people and shot these people in self-defense. Now, the second incident definitely is a self-defense situation, because once he shot the first people and people were like, "Yo, this man just shot somebody, get him," and now he's being chased, and then he turned around and there's a fire, and that's when he shot the other two people. But the thing is, why was Lil Kyle out there in the first place? Now, the reason why I keep saying Lil Kyle is 17. Kyle's not a grown man. Kyle is 17. You are a minor. Now, I will not call him a child, because I don't like when we use the word now, and I understand people use the word child and babies and things like that. Me personally, when you're 17, you are not a child. You are a minor, you're a teenager, you're a young adult, but I'm not going to call him a child, because when I think of child, I think of like 10, 11. So, but anyway, he's a minor. Crossing state lines with a weapon, not okay. I mean, not okay, not lawful. Kyle has been charged with first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, 5 felony counts. I believe Kyle should be charged as an adult, because if we remember, Khalif Browder, who was 16 when he was arrested, was sent to Rikers Island and tried as an adult. So I have no sympathy for this 17-year-old, because again, it's not like he went there, got out the car, and then immediately, no, this young man walked around for hours. He had ample time to think about why he was there, why he should or should not be there, and maybe not be there. Walked around, interacted with police, was given water from police. Now, Kyle, an avid Trump supporter and an avid back the blue person. Kyle would have been a cop. Had this not happened, Kyle would have done everything he could to the police academy. Now, with that being said, you know what Kyle did when he shot the first person? He called somebody. Some people say he called 911, but he definitely called somebody, said he killed somebody. You know what he didn't do after that? He didn't go up to law enforcement. As an aspiring law enforcement citizen, you back the blue, you Mr. I want to do the right thing. You just shot somebody. Why didn't you walk to law enforcement then? Kyle didn't do that. Then Kyle got into another altercation, shot 2 more people. Did Kyle at that point go to law enforcement and be like, "Oh my God, I just shot somebody"? No. You know what Kyle did? Kyle went home, because this happened Tuesday night. Kyle was arrested in Illinois on Wednesday. So little Mr. I want to be a cop, little Mr. Back the Blue, little Mr. Trump supporter, little Mr. Law and Order, that went all around, didn't it, Kyle? You weren't thinking about no law and order once you shot somebody. You weren't thinking about going to the law then and doing the right thing, were you? Nah, you was thinking about, you know what? I'm sick and tired of seeing my country be overrun by these angry black people who are out there screaming and crying for whatever reason. And oh, now here comes another criminal was shot by the police, and now they want to riot and tear up stuff. I'm going to go do something about it. I'm going to get my gun and I'm going to go do something about it. I'm going to go protect these businesses. And you got in over your head, and you got out there with people that wasn't going to allow you to walk around with this rifle and endanger people, and they decided to take action. And because you stupid, young 17, misguided, you got in way of your head, Now you got 5 felony counts, 2 dead bodies on your head. That's what happened with Lil Kyle.
Well, it all starts with at home, the environment. So let's talk about his raggedy ass mama that got him there. Okay? All right? She needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent too. She needs to be in handcuffs because, again, he's a child. How did he get there?
Reckless endangerment.
So you pumped him up. The mama pumped him up. She pumped him all the way up. That's how he had that courage to pull off those evil acts. He probably come from a whole hateful family. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that whole Back the Blue, because what is Back the Blue and Blue Lives Matter? What is that? That is the response to Black Lives Matter. So basically what we have is we have a nation of people who have been victimized, to put it lightly, for over 400 plus years, saying, you know what? We need to tell y'all, because apparently y'all don't get it, that our lives have value just because they're lives. The same as your lives have value. When we see police officers doing everything in their power to not cause bodily harm to white suspects, as they should rightfully do, have that same energy when the suspect is melanated. So we need to tell y'all, remind y'all, let y'all know, because y'all clearly don't get it, that our matter. And your response was, what? Everybody matters. What are you talking about? Okay, well, if y'all matter, police lives matter too. Your response was not of, you know what, you're right. Because in America, where we're all supposed to be equal and we're supposed to love everybody, if you have to remind me and point out that things are not going well for you, my response should be like, okay, you know what, you're right. How can I help? But there's a large collective, their response was, to hell with you. If you're going to talk about your lives matter, we're going to talk about these people's lives matter. So that, like, as you said, Elena, that seed has been planted, been going around for at least 6 years, that this little young man, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, now 17, has been exposed to this culture. Not to mention the dippy dude that just had a little celebration at the White House yesterday, the president of Law and Order, talking about, oh my God, if you elect Biden, look what can happen. No, you're showing what can happen in your America with the rhetoric and the vitriol that you spew out your mouth that empower these people. And then you have all these people that we all see on social media that, again, when Mr. Blake is shot, the first thing they want to do is talk about, well, he's a criminal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Are any of his offenses punishable by being shot in the streets? No, they're not. So we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is a very real problem that we have been telling y'all about for over 400 centuries, and y'all don't ever want to listen. And then when we respond to not only having to deal with the problem, but also the frustration, anger, fear, disappointment, whatever, of not being listened to, and that explodes in a way that y'all don't care for. Now y'all got something else to say. Y'all always have something to say, but y'all never have anything to say about the actual problem. Because make no mistake, y'all understand the concept of getting anger and rage and frustration out through violence. Why do y'all go down and sign up for kickboxing classes when you get stressed out? Because you want to go down and hit the bag. You want to go down and break something. Why do we have all these little rage rooms popping up where you pay money, put on the little coveralls, and go in there and tear stuff up? Because as human beings, we understand the concept of needing to unleash a violent manner. But when a group of people that have 400 plus years of things to unleash it in a violent manner, y'all act like y'all don't understand that. And let me say this one last thing. The NBA decided that they were not going to play as a response to this. You know what day that was? That was 4 years to the day of the third preseason game, which is the first game that America, we know that Colin Kaepernick was not standing for the anthem. So here you have a peaceful protest that y'all showed y'all ass behind, couldn't get with. Then we have a peaceful protest, which is athletes in the NBA, Major League Baseball, and now National Hockey League saying we're going to go on strike. We are going to boycott these games to bring attention to this problem. Peaceful protest. In the middle of that, we have some violence protests. And y'all have something to say about all three steps. So somebody please let me know how you would like us to handle this. Because you don't want to address the problem, you don't want to solve the problem, and you don't want us to act like the problem bothers us. So somebody explain to me where we go from here.
We got any comments? We got any juicy comments? Hello to all of our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We got.
I'm sorry, y'all. Like I'm reeling, and I'm trying to formulate some words that are not angry Black woman words. I want to just go back to the video real quick, and if one of you guys could pick up the comments, because God knows I've gotten lost in the comments. Going back to the video, he shot these people and then he walked past the police. Now, I just said in the Jacob Blake situation that this was policing gone wrong. He should have never made it to the truck. You let little Kyle walk past you. And I know that phone call was active shooter. So you see this big ass gun, on this child, on this boy, on this whatever you want to call him, and you let him walk past you? In whose goddamn America are we living? That you
blatant
can
disrespect.
active, you're going to an active shooter scene, little Kyle just walk past. What?
Saying everybody with a gun. Because we don't know what shit is. But you got a gun, it could be you.
What in the listen, and I'm getting ready to be derogatory and I'm getting ready to be offensive, and y'all gonna have to bear with me. What in the trailer park trash just happened? Because mama drove him down. First of all,
Mama drove him down.
First of all, you raggedy broad. Bad parenting 101. Let me drag him down so he can just... What? I cannot be a reasonable person in this situation. You are a raggedy parent. You a raggedy parent, and now your kid got bodies on him that he has no business having bodies on him because you lack judgment, which goes back to Anika Clowney's argument earlier in the comments when she said parents should be vetted. You damn right. And I believe that you should be sterilized if you can't fulfill the job.
Letitia, let me give you some.
Because little Kyle should have been swallowed. That's how I feel. They dropped the ball on that
one. Swallowed, Elena. Spit or swallowed. But so should his mama, because she took him down there with her raggedy ass.
Hold on, let me hit y'all with this. So remember when after George Floyd, when we had all these protests everywhere, all around Earth, America, those of y'all that don't think American policing is a problem, but Earth can see it. And remember people were out there and there was incidents where it's a peaceful protest, but then things escalate and you had incidents where kids were getting pepper sprayed and, oh my God, how could you take your kids out there? But this heifer drove her son to a full-on buildings on fire, people in the street showing their whole ass, and you gonna just, here you go, little Kyle going on in there.
Yeah.
You ain't
throw the whole family away.
You ain't been you are not Jason Bourne. You ain't what's my man Tom Cruise in Mission. You ain't nobody super soldier. Who in the ever I wouldn't drop a woman gonna drop her husband out there to just place him in the lion's den. But y'all mad because people took their kids out there to witness civil disobedience that turned wrong. You drove your son into a thing that was not even civil. And we knew watching that.
Nothing civil about went on. They listen.
And you drove your minor with a gun down there. What you don't think, like what Dre said, what you want to walk around talking about guns like I ain't got none? But you thought he was going to be the only person out there armed? You thought nobody else was, like in America, Second Amendment, right to bear arms, all these people, you thought Lil Kyle was going to be the only one out there with bullets? You thought that was a good idea, Mom?
Little Kyle.
Here's the thing. The best case scenario happened. He shot and killed somebody, and now he's being charged. That's the best case scenario.
Sadly, yes.
That was the best case scenario. And here's my problem, because I can't even come from a political standpoint. I'm a mother. At no point did you say to yourself, they're going to kill my baby out here. They're going to kill my white ass baby out here.
Right. A big mob of black people. Right.
What?
But again, to take a best case scenario, because what I say earlier, Lil Kyle was going to be a cop. So let's say Lil Kyle goes out there and he doesn't shoot anybody, but they rough him up a little bit and they remind him that you a 17-year-old boy. And then Lil Kyle goes on, and I don't know if he's in high school or whatever, but then Lil Kyle goes on and he makes it through the academy, and Lil Kyle is now a cop. How many bodies is Lil Kyle gonna put up when he becomes a cop? Because now I got the authority to kill. See, right now I just have the desire to kill. Right now, no, you went out there to kill somebody. Like Trevor Noah said, who's gonna grab a gun go to a different city to protect businesses. You know what? I care so much about TJ Maxx. Let me know. You went out there looking for somebody as a civilian. Imagine this doesn't happen, and Lil Kyle 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now is now an adult with a badge and a gun and authority. And
How the blow said, I still believe he's only being charged because he killed 2 white men.
I was thinking the same thing. Here's the
thing. White or black, depending on his background, depending on the lawyer, he's not going to serve that much time. And as Fred alluded to, he's gotten his first kill. He know what blood tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've created a monster. Like, I'm just sitting here, like, spinning, literally, because his mother literally drove him down there into that kind of chaos. You not native and you white.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna need to see some charging documents on this mother. That is reckless endangerment if I've ever seen it. You absolutely put your kid in harm's way. I'm not advocating for him, y'all. I'm just stating facts.
No, but she pumped him up. She encouraged it.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. She pumped him up.
This is another thing we need to talk about. Like what you just said, Letitia, we created a monster. No, we created a lot of monsters. Because make no mistake, there was support for Kyle out there. There people have already started fundraisers to support Lil Kyle. So now, next time, and be clear, there will be a next time. The next black body that is either in the streets or in the hospital, and the next city that catches on fire, how many people out there going, oh, we're not going to let Kyle go out like that. How many more people are going out there like that? Because the thing is, and I'm going to talk back to President Dippy, Team Tangerine, all y'all little supporters, the Citrus Circus. Talk about the fear and oh my God, what's going on in our country and how we get these protesters, and I need to send troops to get these people out the streets. But it never dawns on them, if we start to address the issues that people are in the streets for, we don't have to get them out the streets because they'll go home. But we're not interested in addressing the issues. So we just gonna let it keep happening. And another body will fall, and another city will catch fire, and another body will fall, and another city will catch fire, and another body. And every single time we had one Kyle out in Kenosha. The next city is going to be 10 Kyles. The next city after that is going to be 30 Kyles. Next thing you know, the entire country is shooting at each other.
I just want to say one thing. Black people, we have been fighting for 400 years plus for equality. I've been saying this more and more lately. We've been fighting so hard for just that. Our hands have been tied now. Now we're going to get to the point where we want that and revenge. Before, that's all we wanted was equal rights. We wasn't even seeking revenge. Now we want revenge and equality. And that's what they need to be worried about. That's what they need to be worried about. So now we're gonna want it on.
So let me throw salt on the room. This is my last thought, y'all. Let me throw a little salt in the room and give y'all a little redemption. Because of course, Lil Kyle got a GoFundMe page, right?
Yeah, it's got like 2 million.
GoFundMe shut it down. But the caption is, please
good job.
Please save our son Kyle. He did nothing wrong. He is being railroaded by the state. Miss, middle fingers to the sky.
They better get her. Somebody better go get that lady.
One, that's blatantly false. That he did nothing wrong. That's blatantly false. And two, let's talk on he's being railroaded by the system. Okay, to middle people to say, oh, he's being railroaded by the system. Has anybody at any point in time tried to tell y'all, and I mean try to tell y'all tell y'all, scream at y'all, implore at y'all that y'all system was a bunch of BS? Has anybody ever told y'all that and they haven't met with, will just comply and place to like maybe has anybody tried to previously inform you to little while that your system was whack? No, you've never heard that. Not one group of people, maybe for like the last 100+ years, have been telling y'all that the systems that y'all set up, the systems that y'all control, the system garbage. And now one of your own is being railroaded, and that was the problem. Like Letitia said, middle fingers to the sky. Welcome to the party. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, sit, have a seat. Welcome to the system is trash, and we've been telling you that forever party. Come on in. Because guess what? Guess what? Wasn't nobody worried about the system, and again, I'm gonna bring him up again. Young brother Khalif Browder. Wasn't nobody worried about that brother that spent time at Rikers Island as a 16-year-old who didn't who was not charged, whose family was denied bail, who was treated horrendously at Rikers Island, yes, the prison, as a 16-year-old boy, to the point when he finally did get out, he killed himself. Now, I don't know if there's an actual image of railroaded by the system, but if there ain't one, it should be see also Khalif Browder, see also young black person, see also. But now y'all got one and y'all want to throw them in. Okay, throw your little vanilla drop into the pool. Cool. Pool still black as hell.
All right, so just to cover something real quick, who's in the comments section? People are asking why did his mom drive him? So, and I explained this yesterday. Shout out to TLDT. There are different open.
You're cutting out, Andre.
We can't hear you, love.
All right. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is, can everybody hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What I'm saying is there is a difference in gun laws between Chicago, Illinois, and Wisconsin, where the incident took place. His mom is definitely an accomplice to the crime. She needs to serve the exact same time that little homeboy.
Thug life. Thug life.
Homeboy is going to serve. She needs to definitely serve it as well. She drove him across state lines with a weapon, with an AR-15 weapon, in which with the intent to obviously cause harm. She is just as at fault as he is with this entire situation. Point blank, period. Again, and it goes all back to what laws are in place right now and being able to change what is going on as far as the laws, the judicial system, and the legislation. Those things need to be changed immediately. No 17-year-old should be able to walk around with just an AR-15 rifle. Period. They need to shut that down. I don't care who you are. That's all I'm gonna say in a nutshell. That. Any final thoughts as we end the show?
Ladies, y'all was on fire tonight, ladies. Y'all did your thing. I definitely want to, shout out to the whole Rise Up family. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. I know we didn't, get a chance to really go through a whole lot. I got a lot of reading to do because the ones that I have seen and read, y'all been in the comments doing your thing. Everybody, please like and share the show. Tune in, catch the Love Show on the network Mondays. But yeah, ladies, kudos to y'all. You came with it today.
Yes. Happy Friday.
Y'all come with it every week, but today, y'all got me. I'm over here. I'm sweating.
Just sending a huge shout out to our fans who faithfully watch, who faithfully comment, who faithfully share.
Thank you.
There is no us without you guys. We so appreciate your loyalty. And have a great weekend.